Metals in the periodic table are found on the left hand side, whereas non-metals are found on the right. Both metals and non-metals can form ions during reactions. Ions are just atoms that have lost or gained electrons, and they do this during reactions so they achieve a full outer shell so that it makes their structure more stable. So metals generally lose electrons and form positive ions, whereas non-metals gain electrons and form negative ions. You can see that there's a significant link between an element's position in the periodic table and its reactivity. When looking at metals, for example, the metals further to the left of the periodic table have fewer electrons to remove from their outer shell, and this makes them more reactive. As you go down a group, the outer shell electrons are further away from the nucleus because the atom's getting bigger and has more shells. This decreases the attraction of the electrons to the nucleus, which makes the electron easier to remove, meaning the metal is more reactive. This means that the reactivity of metals increase as you go down the group, as it's easier for elements to react and lose electrons. When looking at non-metals, on the other hand, the ones found further to the right have more outer electrons. And as you go down a group in non-metals, such as group 7, the outer shell electrons are further away from the nucleus, just like in metals, meaning they still have less attraction. But in metals, electrons are being gained and not lost. So less attraction means it's more difficult to gain the electrons, which means it makes them less reactive. So this means the reactivity of non-metals like group 7 elements decrease down a group, as it's more difficult for elements to react and gain electrons. Another difference between metals and non-metals are their physical properties. Metals are generally really good conductors of heat and electricity, and they have high melting and boiling points, whereas non-metals do not conduct electricity and heat very well and have low melting and boiling points. Okay, now let's try a quiz on this topic. See how many questions you can get right. If you liked that video and want to see more, remember to subscribe to Flash Revision Lab to get notified every time we release new content.